Hello friends, my name is Sande. We are actually here to present to you a follow-up presentation to a previous one that was called Is This Your God? And we are calling this one For What You Are Worth. And as I said, it's a follow-up from the concept of what type of God you have in your head, where is that God coming from, that image of God coming from, and what circumstances had influenced to that view. We gave you examples, and we told you a story of how for a lady, her worth was connected to her weight. So when she was overweight, she was worth less. And when she was in her weight, she was worth more. And that was in her perception. And that was in her perception towards those around her, and even to God. She felt that God was disappointed because she could not stick to a diet. She felt that God was somehow running out of patience with her. And we also introduced the concept of a seed that originally was adopted, brewed, and catapulted Satan into a full rebellion against God. And he then used the same platform, the same seed, to inject it into every single human being that comes into this earth. That platform was the platform of low self-esteem. Because he had a concept that he was not worthy enough in the eyes of God. False. It was false, but it was a perception in his own mind that made it true. That made it truth in his understanding. Remember, the truth will set you free, but it will be the truth about your Father in heaven. And the entire process of this seed has a purpose of distortionating the image of God in your mind. He gave it to Eve and said, if you actually eat of the fruit, you will be like God, as if implying the way in which you are now, Eve, you are missing something. You are not completely whole. You are not completely worthy. You are not worthy enough. And that seed was the seed of low self-esteem. And you have it, I have it. I was running an entire series of meetings once, a few months ago, in fact, in Australia. And there was a gentleman that said, well, I don't think I have low self-esteem. I don't think so. The guy was 48 years of age, and I looked at him and said, how old are you? And he goes, 48. I said, all right. Is that why you're gaining a little bit of a tummy here? And this is the way he reacted. Put the tummy right in and said, not that much, And I noticed that his tummy went in. Why did he do that? Because in his case, what is triggering that low self-esteem issue might just not be the same thing that triggers to you. But everybody has something. Everybody has something in the privacy of your room when you look at yourself in the mirror when nobody else knows about it. You know that you feel that there's something missing in you. That you are not good enough father, maybe not good enough mother, maybe not very good enough husband or wife or employee or employer or whichever way, or not good enough Christian. There's something there. What propels that? What propels that feeling? It is a feeling of low self-esteem. And where is that coming from? It comes from the one that suffered it the first time when he was not allowed in the court of heaven. And he spit the dummy, as we say in Australia, and he said, I'm going to go higher than God, despite the fact that he was an exalted angel. I'm going to rise up above heaven, despite the fact that he was already nice and high, because he perceived that the reason why God did not allow him to get into the court of heaven is because he was not good enough. And he was going to do everything to show everyone that he was good enough. In fact, we know that overachievers are actually just a reflection of low self-esteem. I need to prove it to my father that I can finish a university degree. I need to prove it to everyone that I can have a good job. I need to prove it to everyone that my marriage can be sustained. I need to prove it, I need to prove it, and I need to prove it. Why? Because if you don't prove it, you feel that you're not good enough. And you want to move away from that square of low self-esteem into a square of security. And that security can be your job, that security can be your family, that security can be everything else that will make you look good and worthy around you. Now, I was born in Spain. My mom and dad decided to go on holidays while she was pregnant because I didn't mean to arrive that early. I arrived at when I was only 7 months in my mom's tummy, only 7 months. And my mom is such a loving person, such a fearful person too. So she is fearful and she is loving. From the age of 4 months into the mother's womb, a baby will start being affected by the emotions of the mother. That's why firstborns are normally more cautious than the children that come after them. That's why in the story of the prodigal son, it was the older brother that stayed home, didn't want to risk it. Why? Because sometimes being a first mother gives you, or mother for the first time, gives you those fears. Would I be good enough? Would I kill my baby? How is it going to be with the fear of delivery? You know, they tell me it's going to be very painful. There's a lot of fears that go throughout, and those fears are passed specifically in a much greater amount upon the firstborn. Now, emotions. And I know I was greatly loved from the age of 4 months, greatly loved. And then at 7 months, I decided to come out. And I'm saying I decided to come out because nowadays we know that it is actually something that the baby releases that triggers the brain of the mother to command delivery. So I decided to come out at 7 months. You might say, all right, well, it's a guy that is going to be right up there on everything. Well, we know that premature babies will have a lot of struggles in physical development and many in learning capabilities and so on. I thank God that those struggles from the physical point of view and learning point of view have not appeared to affect me that much. But I want you to notice something. Mom is there with her hands in her tummy for 7 months telling me that she loves me, that she's looking forward to see me, that she, just to grab me, just to hold me. And in my mind, I'm just being fed emotions into a very virgin mind that is just being fed with new information. And then 7 months of that, I get born and straight away taken away from my mom and put for 3 months in an incubator where she could not touch me. Now, she suffered a lot. She loved me. She had to, remember, she was on holidays. She was actually away from her home, and she had to just be living there for 3 months outside of her home, paying accommodation and travels in the bus to the hospital. She had to express all her milk to feed it to the baby through the nose and through channels inside that baby. We're talking in the 70s. We didn't have the technology that we have today, and a 7 months pregnant premature baby, it was at greater risk of death. My original weight was 1.5, and then I dropped down to 1.2. They call me the rat. They will go to my mom and they will tell my mom There were maybe 4 ladies in the same room in the hospital delivering babies, with their babies, and they had their babies. My mom didn't have hers, and then when they will go and visit the babies through a glass window, they will look at me, they'll call me the rat, the other ladies, and they said to my mom, he's not going to make it, he's going to die. In the perception of a premature baby, that is a perception of abandonment. I was looking forward to, now I don't have the mental development and reasoning capabilities. I'm just driven by senses, by impressions of the limbic system. I am looking forward to get attached to my mom, to be welcomed into a world of security. But rather than that, I am left alone. And in the eyes of a baby, if a baby does not see you, you do not exist. That's why a baby, or a toddler, when you're playing hide and seek, the toddler can be in front of your eyes, but if he covers his eyes, he's hiding. Why is he hiding? Because he cannot see you. And he's still wondering, how is it that you can find him so easily? That's the reason why. A baby does not see you. You do not exist. She told me he was looking forward to see me. I come out and she disappears. It must be because I am not worthy. It must be because I have been rejected. If I put my trust in her, she will let me down. For many years, until I understood this, I was actually froze in my mental development at the age of a baby. When I put my trust in people and disappointed me, and I got hurt so badly. In fact, I always had a problem trying to find trust enough that I can trust people. Couldn't understand why. Why I cannot trust people, why I don't trust anybody. And I even repeat that to my little children. I don't trust anybody. Daddy, why can we not go there for a sleepover? I don't trust anybody. I don't trust anybody. Now, my mom loved me. My mom suffered because of me. And that was not real. She did not abandon me. It was not real, but it was perceived as real by that baby. That I was not worthy. And the reason why she left me out or left me down was because I was not worthy, because I don't deserve. I remember I've got images in my mind of at the age of 3 or at the age of 4, my mom leaving me in the house for about 5 minutes. She said to me, I'm just going to get milk and bread from the local deli. And she will go down, and rather than 5 minutes, maybe there were 10 minutes, or maybe there were more minutes, I don't know, but in the time frame of a child, it was a long, long time. And I'll be looking, staring through the window, and my mom will not be coming. And I'll start saying aloud, my mom is dead, she's not coming back, I'm dead. She's dead, and I'm left by myself. And then my mom will come. But I have images, even then, to my brother. My brother was 2, and I will just very quickly go to my brother and say, Mom is not coming back, she's not coming back, she left us. My brother had no idea what I was talking about. He'll look at me and said, why are you saying that? Don't say that. That's not true. That's not true. So, if I put my trust in people, they will let me down. Therefore, in order to prevent that disappointment, I won't put trust in people. Because in reality, why trust them? I know I'm not good enough. Sooner or later, it will be normal for them to leave me. It will be normal for them to leave me. How will they stay with me? I am unworthy. I am not good enough. How is it that it's going to be a God that is promising me that will never leave me, never forsake me? That is going to be very difficult for me to understand. It's going to be very difficult for me to trust. Because I don't trust anybody. I put trust in things, and things let me down. An example, I put trust in the computer. Then the computer will do a job, and that computer will not crash. And all of a sudden, one day, the computer crashes. And how did I react to that? Why am I reacting like this? I'm reacting like a little baby in frustration of abandonment. Why? Because the computer, an object that I put my trust in, has let me down again because I am not worthy. If my car breaks down, I put my trust in the car, I live and why? Because I put the trust, but it let me down, but in reality has let me down because I am not worthy. You've just been nice all these years, been reliable, but finally, even the car has to realize that I'm not worthy and there's no point of being reliable for me because I'm worthless. In the previous presentation, Is This Your God? We invited you to do a table of positive experiences, negative experiences, the person involved, and the feelings that they gave you in regards to your worth. I'm going to share, I hope you have done it, and you have done it. If you haven't done it, I really encourage you to do so. If you just happen to watch this program before the previous one, I will probably recommend you to watch the previous one first. However, I want to share a little bit of my table. And how did I fill up that table? I actually did it this way. I go for a walk every morning and I speak with God. I talk with God. My closest neighbor, I live in a countryside, my closest neighbor is 1 kilometer away. So I take my dog and I speak to God aloud until I go near my neighbor, and then I quiet down. I don't want him to believe that I'm crazy. And then I keep on talking again with God. So I said, God, I want you to show me the instances of my life that somehow had influenced my perception of myself and my worth. And one of the things that came to my mind as a flash, pretty much, is a story. And I wrote there in the positive side. I wrote the air gun. I already knew what the air gun story was. You know those air guns that air rifles, that you open it like that, you put I don't know how you call it, bullets. What do you call them? You call them like a little lead ball there. What is it? A pellet. Okay. So you put the pellet there, and then you aim to something. Okay, and it has compressed air, and that allows the shooting. I don't have to tell the story in that column. I already know. It's just a pointer for me, for my remembrance. And I remember I was 12 years of age. And my cousin was 16, and we were actually spending the entire summer putting pellets there and aiming to a coin there at a target. It was the festival of the town. All the people will gather from the cities and go to the little town and do a festival. They'll kill an animal and they will eat, and then they'll have their coffee with their whiskey and their Cuban cigar. And all the men were there talking about politics and soccer or football. And all the men came out, and there were a lot of them. My uncles were there, my father was there, and many others. And my cousin and I, we kept on doing the shooting with the air rifle. As I said, all summer we were practicing. We were very good at it. And because men never grow up, they started seeing us, and they started bringing their Cuban cigars closer to us, and we can feel the smoke already coming. They started talking about how good they were during the military service, because in Spain we had compulsory military service, how good they were at the shooting. And among them, there was a boaster. A guy that was boasting because he did it in the special forces. He did not just 1 year, he did it 2 years, and they will jump from planes in a parachute, and they will be using weapons and so on. And he was a boaster. He was boasting all the time, and the others were like, They got so close that they decided that they would actually play the game. They were going to put 25 pesetas. Now, we don't have pesetas in Spain anymore, we have euros, but before, at that time, we had pesetas. So they were going to put 25 pesetas for one pellet. And I had no money, but my cousin had. So my cousin will put money for him and will put money for me. So there was the first run, and everybody that wanted a pellet had to put 25 pesetas there. And everybody had a go. The coin was at a distance, and we'll just hit the coin. And another round, and if you missed, you're out. Soon, the circle was getting smaller. The participants were getting more refined in their task. All of a sudden, my father fails, and he misses a target, so he's out. My cousin runs out of money. And I go to my father, and my father puts for him and for me. There's 4 people left. There's the boaster, there's my uncle, my cousin, and me. You have to understand, I was a 12 years old skinny boy with a lazy eye due to my first 2 years of sickness because of my early birth. So I developed a lazy eye. And I was skinny, and my eye cannot keep straight, no matter how much I told him. I told him to keep straight. We had a go, and I hit the target. My cousin missed the target, and my uncle missed the target, and the boaster hit the target. Friends, my father ran out of money, and within a split second, I had people putting money in my behalf. Everybody was sensing that something was going to happen, or at least they were hoping for that to happen. There was a whole mountain of money already there. And I hit the target, the boaster hits the target. There's already 25 pesetas in my behalf there. Everybody's thinking, oh wow, wouldn't this be neat if the guy with the lazy eye, the little boy, he just wins this battle against the boaster, the special forces guy. I go first again, and I miss. And you hear this, oh. Here comes the boaster, it's his turn. He misses, and you hear, yeah! I go again, and I hit the target. He goes, and he misses. Oh, friends, it wasn't the fact that I filled up 2 full socks full of money. When I turned around, the embrace of my father was amazing. He held me, and I sensed it. He was proud of me. He was so proud of me. And I felt so worthy. I felt so worthy. I was 12. I did something good, and I felt worthy. And my father embraced me because of it. Now, friends, I was also 12 years of age when I was doing invoices for my father. He had at that point still a growing, small but growing construction business. And I spent the entire year doing a certificate on typewriting. Those old Oliveris, And I had to do invoices, and I had to do different writings and letters for his business. So through the week, while everybody was playing soccer, I was just there practicing in this academy how to do typewriting. And then on Sundays, while everybody was playing soccer, I was in the house doing invoices for my father. And back in those days, it wasn't as easy when you made a mistake. It wasn't as easy as just delete it with the delete key. You actually had a main copy, a carbon paper, and then the carbon copy. And if you made a mistake, you had to get this white paper, and you have to type the same word again to fix the mistake or use liquid paper. And I remember my father going over my shoulder, looking at a number of mistakes, getting his hand like that and hitting me on the head and saying, "You're stupid, you're good for nothing. You are hopeless, you're not going to accomplish anything." Now think about it, friends. The lowest mark that I ever brought home from school was a B. And that was 1. Everything else were always A's. I was the only one in class that could actually type very, very fast on a typewriting machine. Nevertheless, I was stupid. I was unworthy. I was a nobody because I made a mistake. So because I made a mistake, I was unworthy. I was unworthy of His love. I was unworthy of His affection. I was unworthy of His embrace. I was unworthy of having even a father that can even think of feeding me. So, when I was 17 years old, on the 24th of December, and my mom calls my grandmother's place, I was there in my grandmother's place. And she says to me, crying, "He's leaving us, Oscar, he's leaving us." I left my grandfather's place, my grandfather's place, and I started running up to my house. They were about 2 kilometers away. I walked into the door, and I saw my father with all of his clothes inside plastic bags, and he was leaving. Of course he had to leave, because I wasn't worthy. To that point, I was even kidding myself, thinking, well, all right, between the other woman and my mom, my dad thinks that the other woman is more worthy. But if you put that other woman that he has only met for the last 2 years, and you put on the other side of the pendulum, you put my brother, the worth of my brother. I mean, my brother is my dad's favorite, so I thought. Between the weight of my brother and my little weight of worth, I'm sure he will stay. If not for the sake of my mom, for the sake of my brother and my little weight added to that. So when my father left, how do you think that made me feel about my worth? I was unworthy of him staying. He couldn't even stay, not even for me. He didn't want to stay for my mom. Fine. Can he stay for me? Are you noticing? All those experiences then get transferred to our relationship with God. So when I am in trouble or I am in the valley of the shadow of death, and it appears as if God is not there, where are you? Why are you allowing this to happen? Because it must be because I am not worthy. Because how come God has more important things to do than just look after my life, right? Because I am not worthy. Because that seed that the devil has planted in me, in you, and in everyone throughout human history is still kicking, is still validated there. Oh, friends. When I turn 40 years of age, you enter into that midlife crisis, as they say. And in one of my journeys in the morning with the Lord, talking to Him, I asked one of those midlife crisis questions. Father, am I where I'm meant to be? Am I where I'm meant to be? Or I made so many blunders, I made so many mistakes all through my life, so many wrong decisions that I'm actually so off the path to fulfill the plan that you had for me. Did I mess it so much? And I felt His Spirit impressing my conscience, as if saying, I am happy with your decision. All right. Which decision? Which one of them? When we sold the house there, when we put that money there, when we lost that, when we moved from here to there, because some of them, I don't think I will repeat them again. I think I made a mistake. Which one of them you are happy with? I am happy with your decision. And an image came to my head. Today, in Western Australia, when I gave my heart to Him, and I call Him Daddy, the day in which for the first time I started crying and crying and crying, the tears of unworthiness out of me. Because somebody said, and I believed him, that He loves me, even unworthy as I am, and that my worth is not found in what I do or don't do. My worth is found in the privilege of being called son of God. Or in your case, maybe a daughter of God. The privilege that God feels when we call Him Daddy. And the privilege that He gives us to call Him Daddy. And to call us His son and daughter. That was my worth. So there I am, midlife crisis. And God reminded me once again, I am not like any other gods in your mind. I am not like your father. I am not like your mother. I am not like anyone that you know of. I love you, and you are worthy because I love you. I've got a little foster daughter. She's 4 years of age. She's very special. She's a princess. Let's say I give my little daughter at 4 pen and paper, coloring pencils to draw something, and she draws something. And let's say that I heard that a very amazing artist, someone of the stature of Picasso or Goya or any other great painters in the history of that stature, is going to come to town. And every artist in the world are allowed to present their paintings there without a signature. Because this amazing painter of the statue of Picasso is going to analyze every work of art in that exhibition, and is going to grab a pen and is going to sign with his signature, whatever he chooses. Imagine if for some reason I just placed that A4 paper with my 4-year-old daughter's drawing in it, and I place it at a table in that exposition. The day comes, the cameras are following the Picasso-like artist. He's walking along, and the most beautiful masterpiece is there, hanging from that wall, and another one from there, and this is just art of the finest caliber all around. And the cameras are so curious, and they're following this artist everywhere to see where is he going to stop, what is he going to sign. And all of a sudden, he stops. He grabs hold of my daughter's paper, puts it down, gets the pen, and he signs it. If you get that piece of paper and you are going to sell it the very next day, how much is that paper worth? Millions. Millions. Why? Is it because it's a masterpiece? Is it because it's a work of art? Is it because it's amazing, the color and the shades and everything else? No. Why is it worthy? Why is it worth so much? Because of the signature. The The signature gives the worth. I am a son of God. He told me that I am worthy, not in my own. He told me that I am worthy because He has put His eye on me. He told me that I am worthy because He has called me. You are my son. I am a son of the King. You are a prince and a princess of the King. He is not like any other. Make sure that the God that you follow is the God that is real and not the one that has been manipulated through your upbringing experiences in your mind. He loves you. He is in love with you. He wants to embrace you. Get to know Him. He is real. Thank you for your attention.